So for starters, what do you got? Blade, what do you know about Mega Man for DOS?
I know very little. Like, the only thing I know is that it existed at one point, and one of the default ways you could play it is like some weird, like blue and pink color palette because that was technology limitations at the time. And I also know that several of the characters got repurposed to be robot masters or navis in later editions of the actual mainline games. But aside from that, I know next to nothing about it.
Gotcha. Well, this will be a great learning experience. Let me start with this intro stage here. So this intro stage is the first intro stage in any Mega Man game ever. Uh, this robotic dog would later be repurposed into, I believe it's Volg something for X. We'll get to that when I get to X1. But other than that, that intro stage isn't a whole lot different than what you'd expect to find in
Oh,
early DOS titles.
You talking about Velgarder, Sigma's watchdog thing? Yes, yes.
Yes, I am, because they've got the same proportions and some of the same movements in terms of the lunging and dashing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So DOS 1 here was made by one person.
Wow.
He worked at Capcom USA at the very start of Capcom USA being a thing, and their main goal was to essentially port over titles from the arcades to PC at the time. However, they ended up only really working on They only really worked on checking third parties to make sure they were good, and Rosner wanted to do something else, so in his spare time he started working on this, which at the time Mega Man 1 was all that was out. And by the
Yeah,
time
I was about to ask what arcade was Mega Man at the time because I didn't think that the first Mega Man arcade game came out for several years until after the NES games did.
Nope, that's true, but I'm talking ports, I'm talking they were looking over ports of 1942, Ghouls and Ghosts. The NES was like a fairly new machine when this started, so this game started development, and then once it came out, essentially one of the bosses looked over, saw Rosner working on it, and said, "All right, we'll make that. We'll publish that. I'll hire you on to program," because he was gonna quit if he didn't get to program anything new. And they said they'll go for it. It'll be a cheap project. They put it out as a one-man band sort of thing, and that's why his name is on a lot of stuff. That's why a lot of the graphics don't look the best. But in terms of programming, it's actually not too far off from what you could expect from other Mega Man titles from the time. Specifically, too. Mega Man's got just as tight controls as he did in 3. He's... the only problem is this frame rate, because when it comes to emulating DOS titles, the major problem is that emulating DOS requires you to emulate the actual OS, because you're not emulating the game, you're emulating the operating system in a virtual machine.
Yeah, because it was built to run specifically on DOS. So, yeah, that makes sense. You're having to run two operating systems at once in order to get it working right.
So the accuracy here is actually awful. Which is why a lot of the misconceptions about this game being super bad are there. Like, yeah, it's bad, but it's not as bad as it could have been. So I'm having to dial in the speed every time I do something here. As far as the pink and cyan colors go, that's something called CGA. It was a very old and primitive monitor used for the cheap, mostly for programming in large, heavy machinery where they could save a penny or two by going with cheaper monitors.
That makes sense. And I just now realized on my end that my my video capture footage was not centered properly, so I'm going to restart my my gameplay over here. But that's fine. I'm just footage gathering for a future video. So I actually kind of wanted to bring up a kind of funny joke. It's You guys know the thing that got my channel big was doing Mega Man Battle Network icebergs, and I actually looked over a couple of other icebergs related to Mega Man, and I thought one of the funniest entries I saw, it was at the like very bottom of the list, which means that it's like the most deep lore, most heavy conspiracies. One of the ones I found was that the DOS games were the original, and the NES versions were ports. I know that's absolutely not true, but I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, definitely not true. Casey, could you catch up with chat real fast while I'm making it through this section?
Yeah, didn't want to interrupt y'all. So, we got Karmic saying that the character select screen looks like an educational title. Vampire says, my favorite arcade game is Polybius and Sonic on Dreamcast.
Alright then.
And Vampire Kink asks, has Atari made a Mega Man game?
Atari never made a Mega Man game.
Alright, we have some people coming in. Skylar saying, hey Gavin.
Hello.
And February saying, evening.
Hello as well. So another big thing about the game, not really running the best, is you're going to notice a lot of flickering here and there. I'm doing my best to hold off from that. I think this is the most accurate I've gotten this game to run so far, and I've played this game one time before this, for a really old playthrough, where at the very end of it I got so frustrated, I said I'd never wanted to play this game ever again.
Too bad, you had to play it twice.
Yeah, once for the Ultimate Guide video, and then once here. Oh boy, what did I get myself into?
Is it as bad as Mega Man X on mobile, though?
I would say it's about on par. Speaking of X, though, Rosner would later go on to make the Mega Man X for DOS.
I actually played that one as a kid. It functionally seemed to be pretty much the exact same game as the SNES port. I do remember there was one unique cheat code you could use where you literally type in the word X stuff on the keyboard, and then it just give you like all of the armor, all of the weapons, and all the items just right off the bat. Just immediately, you're stacked as soon as the game starts. You're ready to go.
This one has a similar cheat code where if at the DOS launcher, if you type NR before you start it, you can actually get infinite health.
Ah, very nice, very nice.
But we're not doing that today, and I'm not sure if I'm actually going to be able to beat any of these games other than the Game Gear title today. But this is more so showcase as much as I can. If I get frustrated, we switch to the next one, because, you know, I just went backwards through the whole series, and this is the final one that I can show reliably. Because after this, we get to stuff where I'd have to start reverse engineering, and I really don't feel like setting up Rockman Gold Empire and strategy.
So are you telling me that you're not going to bring out the Mega Man 2 on Tiger Electronic for us?
I'll get to that one day when I can find a reliable way to play it, but now...
last I heard, they actually make emulators for those now.
They do. I don't know how great they are, and I'm not willing to plunge myself face first into the Tiger scene, but maybe one day when I'm not swamped with making a fursuit for a friend and doing a poster for a convention and making these streams all at once, planning crossovers.
Just take it one step at a time, bud, and you got this.
Yeah, I kind of... Go ahead.
I was gonna say, February asks how everyone is doing.
I'm quite fine myself. How is the chat doing? Blade, how are you doing today? Casey, you too.
I'm doing alright. You were talking about getting overwhelmed. I was thinking to myself at work, I was like, yeah, now that we actually have a reliable way to play the entire Battle Network game, and I have it on both on the Wii U Virtual Console, and we have it on Switch, PS4, I've been wanting to do a complete retrospective of the entire Battle Network series for years now, and now I actually have the full means to do it, and I'm thinking to myself, with how I would want to go about this, that would be a colossal undertaking. We're talking multiple videos
I mean, hey, you saw how long my video on the topic was.
Yeah, good 7 hours. But you covered Star Force in that as well. I was just talking about just covering the Battle Network series, but I would also include like the manga and anime and stuff. But that's for like the whole big long retrospective of the IP, which I actually kind of want to bring that back to, I guess, reintroduce a series on my channel that I had started a while back, but it's kind of gone dormant since 2 years ago, where I just talk about, well, games, manga, comics, pretty much anything I want to. It's its own review series, but I haven't done one of those in about 2 years. Maybe it's probably getting closer to 3 at this point. But I was thinking about using that to kind of reintroduce the series back to the newer audience, because last time I posted a video on that, I had less than 1K subs. Now I'm sitting at almost 5K. So the new audience probably doesn't even know about that. But
hey, I didn't know about it till we talked during the interview section. So.
Oh yeah. No, I actually feel like I was made to eat my words in some way. Like I'm just kind of just spitballing here, going roundabout with some of the topics. I'm collecting footage for another video that's been on the back burner for about 2 years now, to where I basically cover every version, every port of the original MegaMan X, and I played the iPhone version. I had to borrow a friend's iPhone, buy the game, download it, and record it to get footage for that. And then
You could have. Hey, it came to Android recently.
yeah, I was about to say, in one of my videos, I think it was the Why the Legacy Collection is Important video, I actually say, I think we can all agree in today's day and age, more Mega Man can only be a good thing. And then that pops up on Android, and I'm like, well, that's a thing now. So do I put myself through that suffering again on Android now, or do I just stick with iPhone footage? Because from what I can tell, it's pretty much the same game, just on a different phone.
Hey, if you've got good enough footage, I'd say just stick with it. If you want me to, I could look at it and tell you if there's any differences.
Yeah.
I've got the time.
I mean, I kind of want to save most of my thoughts on that for the actual video itself. I will say I can only really give it one good, I guess, like, you know, props, points, whatever you want to call them. And that is they managed to make a funny when you get the Hadouken from Dr. Light, because gameplay-wise, it's absolute garbage, because you're trying to control this action platformer on a touchscreen. The screens don't flow as smoothly as they normally do. They actually have to come to a stop, and then you re-enter a new area. But sometimes there will be a jump you need to make, and you need to be carrying the momentum from the previous screen into the next one. So I'm not going to say you get stuck, but it makes the jump harder. The controls aren't very good. You can actually turn on a super easy mode that eliminates all pitfalls and spikes. And on the one hand, it does also have like the music and character portraits from Maverick Hunter, but the graphics are more closer in line with a weird version of the SNES, which the graphics aren't terrible, but they're kind of uninspired, and the animations are stiff.
You know what makes that even funnier?
What's that?
That same year, they actually ported Ultimate Ghosts and Goblins from the PSP straight over to iOS with no problems.
Yeah, and there were other PSP games that ended up on mobile as well, like Final Fantasy 1 and 2. And the PSP versions of those look gorgeous.
Seems like we got quite a bit in chat. Casey, if you could read that real fast for us.
Yep. We got Vampire King asking, would you drink an E-Tank?
Maybe.
Well, if you look at the Ruby Spears cartoon, the E-Tanks look like a Mountain Dew, basically, so...
I mean, you know what? That's fair. Fevry says they plan to port a Mario Kart Tour track, but they gotta wait until the updates at 2 a.m.
Well, have fun with that.
Can we get a Mega Man movie directed by Michael Bay with explosions, different lore, ridiculously detailed characters, inappropriate jokes, more focus on Light and Wily and rock music?
Said the bottom text. No. We're already getting a Mega Man movie, and it's been kind of in limbo. I don't know if... have you heard about that yet, Blade?
Is that the one that's supposed to star Vin Diesel, or is that something else?
That's not a thing from what I know.
I know. I think that was a joke from way back in the day. But, yeah, you're over here saying make a Mega Man movie directed by Michael Bay with gratuitous violence and inappropriate humor. I'm like, oh, so you want to adapt the Brazilian Mega Man comics into a movie, is what I'm hearing.
God, please, no. Can we leave those forgotten? Oh God. Let me never forget. You sent me that, and I still have to look at it.
You asked. You asked.
I did.
Okay.
I did. I'm making a video on it, but still.
You were not the only one cursed with knowledge.
Oh yeah. No, I know way too much about this series already, to the point where, believe it or not, when we got to the last main platforming game on on the Wily Wars, I just put down the controller and went, I'm finally done with platforming games for a little while.
And then the little Casey was like, but you got DOS.
DOS and Powered Up, and I was like, well, Powered Up's no big deal, and DOS is DOS.
We got some more things here in the chat.
Quite a bit.
Someone says, oh, you're streaming. Let me get my red wine.
Oh, boy.
The bottom text says MegaMan with The Rock.
Do it. You know what? You know who I want to see The Rock play in a Mega Man movie?
Who?
Gutsman?
I want him... I was gonna either say Gutsman, or I want him to be a random bystander who, like, tries to compete against Gutsman in an arm wrestling contest.
No. If The Rock isn't playing Rockman, then he has to play Stone Man. It's easy.
Right, that's fair.
That would be pretty cool.
And if we want to get Vin Diesel, we could have him be Turbo Man.
No, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Put that cookie down!
Who should we get to play Waveman then?
Good question. Let's see.
You know what? Because I'm in a fully charged kind of mood, let's get somebody who fought an alligator.
I would say
Dundee. Well, those are crocodiles, not alligators, but still.
close enough.
Not many people know the difference, which is kind of sad.
The thing is, though, like, if you put both of them in front of me, I probably couldn't tell you the difference either. I know there's a difference, I just don't know what the, like, functional difference is. It's like, they're both big green lizards that have giant teeth that could kill me instantly. I'm gonna keep my distance, thank you.
We could get the actor who played Leon in the Welcome to Raccoon City movie.
Oh my gosh, yes!
That movie was actually really good, and people diss that, and I'm like,
Why?
no, that was accurate. Like,
that was really good.
The rocket launcher in the back of the car, and they're just like, where did you find that? Back of the car.
That's accurate. That's accurate to this game. That's accurate to Resident Evil, if you think about it. Where did you get the rocket launcher? Oh, some guy who wanted to sell me stuff. I don't know. I'm in Europe, saving the president's daughter.
Yeah, one movie that I actually think was kind of surprisingly okay for a video game adaptation, from what I remember about it, the Dead Rising movies. Like Dead Rising Watchtower. I haven't seen Endgame yet, but Dead Rising Watchtower, at least, was halfway decent, except for their portrayal of my boy Frank West. The Rob Riggle, I think was his name. Yeah, no. He should not be Frank West. Just no. Absolutely not.
Chat is having a blast with the silence of this game. I feel like I've driven my chat absolutely bonkers because it's just sound effects.
Alright, let me go ahead and get to it. Soma says they would love an anime based on the X series. We did have an OVA.
Yep. Yeah, and now we need a full-blown series about it. Like, honestly, I'd be okay if we didn't even get, like, Maverick Hunter 2 or 3, but if we just got, like, a MegaMan X anime.
You know what I want to see?
What's that?
I want to see an X anime that doesn't directly ever follow X or Zero. I want one that just follows one of the random scientists watching the chaos ensue as they try to put together Axel. And
okay.
And then it's not revealed till the end that it's Axel.
I like that idea. I dig that.
You know it'd be pretty sad though if it was like that. We got this really cool looking pilot, and then we get Ruby Spears 2.
Hmm.
Mm,
I actually have a soft spot. I actually have a soft spot for Ruby Spears because I mean it's glorious '90s cheese. I am a '90s kid, so while I didn't watch the show growing up, it's still got that same '90s flair and nostalgia that I'm a sucker for. So I can't hate Ruby Spears too much.
I was saving most of my findings for the Ultimate Guide Part 3, but I might as well give a little bit of a hint that I have been able to find remnants and pieces of what they were going to do with the Season 2. Or Season 3, sorry.
Okay, I was about to say there was a season 2.
Well, I found bits and pieces. It seems like they were going to aim for more of a serialized take of it, because they had more of a budget for the last half of Season 2.
Yeah, and the best episode in the series, like indisputably, is the one that featured MegaMan X and Vile. Like that, honestly, is probably my favorite version of Vile that I've ever seen.
I don't know if you've seen the last episode though, where they start
Crime of the Century. Yeah,
they started to change the art style, make it more serious, edge out the shadings around things. It just felt more like they were actually trying to make something worth your time.
yeah, I can agree with that. Like the one shot in particular that always stuck out to me is the one where I think they're on a train and then Mega Man fires a charge shot at Gutsman and it actually hits him in the chest, but then it actually does this thing to where it actually pushes him back a bit before giving its explosive impact. And the animation and lighting and shading was really good in that one particular scene, I remember. Yeah, I actually got to meet and I just fell down the pit. Whoops. Playing Spark Mandrill stage after crashing Storm Eagle's ship, so the power is out, and I just fell to my death. But I actually got to play, or not got to play. I got to meet the voice actor who played Proto Man and Dr. Wily at a con several years ago, and I got him to sign my brother's Mega Man DVDs. Or actually, I bought the DVDs at the con to give to him because he liked the cartoon, and Scott McNeil has voiced several characters from a lot of anime and TV shows that we watched growing up, like Beast Wars, Gundam, the whole 9 yards, and it was really great. He was really fun.
I have been having a blast learning stuff for the Part 3 video. When we went, when I did the interview with Snookums gal, she told me a whole bunch of stuff about Season 2 for Fully Charged, the ideas that went behind creating characters, all sorts of stuff that could have been cool, but nothing I can go into full depth on until I make the video, because a lot of it's written down in the notes, and I don't want to spoil everything in the interview.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. You don't want to tip your hand too much. Gotta build suspense. The one question, Fully Charged so far has not gotten a home release, has it?
No, it hasn't, and it's starting to worry me.
Well, currently it is on YouTube, like, fully available. It's on YouTube, it's been archived in a few places, but there's no, like, high-definition version. There's no high-quality version.
There's one high-quality version on
Amazon. Yeah, I
it's
just
not,
remember that.
But it's not part of their Prime streaming service. You have to pay for each individual episode.
And it's like, what, $10 a pop or so? And there's like 20-something episodes?
It's $1.99 for each episode, and there are 50 episodes.
So you're looking at basically $100, not even counting tax, to purchase the series.
And the series is good, especially after those first 15 episodes, but I wouldn't waste $100 on it.
Well, if you look at the price of a lot of 13-episode anime DVDs nowadays, then that's actually not unreasonable. Like, that's one thing I really don't like about a lot of modern anime that are, or I say a lot, the anime that I follow are following that format to where it's like, yeah, here's a season 1 box set of 13, 14 episodes for $130. But that's mostly Fate and Type Moon stuff. But I watched a couple episodes of Fully Charged. I keep wanting to call it Powered Up because those are like similar words.
Everybody keeps doing that.
Everyone does that, including me.
Like, it doesn't matter who I talk to about it.
I'm gonna stumble at least once. So, but I actually don't hate Dr. Light in that series because he's voiced by Gary Chalk, who voices Optimus Primal, and I really love Beast Wars. Like, that is my favorite Transformers series so far. and just hearing Optimus Primal's voice coming out of Dr. Light, I'm like, this is it's a different take on him. He's a bit younger and a bit more built, but I'm okay with that. This is a nice iteration, or a nice alternative. You know?
He might be just as old, actually. Believe it or not, he might just be just as old, because there was a giant robot war in that series that he had to fight in. We got a lot of stuff happening in chat right now. Casey, if you would catch up for me.
Way far back. The bottom text says Michael Bay will love the Brazilian comics.
Yeah.
Luckily, Bay isn't directing the movie, so...
I'm gonna continue going on through here. Animated version of Moushly? Why are we talking about Moushly?
Because we mentioned Resident Evil a while back.
We mentioned Resident Evil.
Yeah, no, we were talking about actors to play Waveman, and I mentioned Leon from the movie.
Yeah, that's correct. That is correct.
Vampire King says, this is giving me Metroid 1 PTSD. Would you like to tell them about what you and I discussed about this game in particular?
I don't remember. Sorry. We went through a lot this morning. I'm starting to run out of steam, actually. So.
Oh, no. We just started. Alright, well... Chat,
well, like just in terms of what's going on.
The games that came out around this time were Zelda and Metroid. And because of that, this game was, I believe, it was originally meant to be a type of Metroidvania.
That's the third one.
It's the third one?
Yeah, if they ever made a 2D Mega Man Legends game, it would absolutely be a Metroidvania. Yeah, because like I actually played Mega Man Legends before playing any Metroid game, and going through Super Metroid, I was like, if this were Mega Man, because everyone compares Mega Man and Samus because arm cannons, I was looking at this like all the treasure hunting, puzzle solving, and just going underground. I'm like, this is like Mega Man Legends, but it's 2D, and I love it.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but there was magazines for April 1st where they did a Legends DS style lookalike thing, and it was an isometric Legends game with touch controls at the bottom for maps and stuff, maps and item switching, and it looked so cool. And then it turned out to be an April Fool's joke, and it was just like, you hurt me.
In hindsight, that's extremely cruel, especially since we know that the prototype for the 3DS game of Legends 3 is out there somewhere. So
I thought it got erased.
Did it?
Yeah, I could have sworn they erased every trace of it.
I might have incomplete data then, because I say out there somewhere because nothing is ever permanently gone. Like, it's out there somewhere.
I mean, we have the engine for it. It was Resident Evil Revelations. We have the engine, at least. And there are still some remnants of code from Legends. Like, some file names were still called MML, but nothing, like, major.
Oh, yeah, like, not a playable build.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, can we talk about the Legacy Collection stuff yet, or do you want to keep talking about other stuff? Because I got stuff to say. So.
Let's catch up. I have some stuff to say about it as well. I've been talking about it all week. Let's catch up with chat. Let me switch over to 3 for DOS, and then we'll get into it.
Alright, so Fluffy Zenny, Zeke, and Justin Hundley say hello.
Hi.
And, yeah, everyone was talking about X for a bit.
That's fair.
I was actually going to ask you... X gonna give it to you? No! Please don't do that. Scarecade Sunday has been kicking my butt. It sucked so badly. I died within, like, the first 5 minutes. Yeah, but that's enough of that. I was gonna ask, Blade Cross, what is your opinion on the way they interpreted X in the Ruby Spears cartoon? I'm kind of curious to hear your thoughts.
Look how they massacred my boy. Okay, so yeah, I will say I'll cut him a little bit of benefit of the doubt because that came out in 94, 95, and at the time I think we only had X1. Maybe Rockman X2 was out in Japan at that point, but I don't think it was over here in the States yet. But when you only have one game to go off of, and X barely has any dialogue in the game as is, you can't really get a centering on his personality. I will say he was, yes, absolutely too trigger happy. And my honest biggest complaint is his skin-colored neck. That's just always been off-putting to me.
His skin-colored neck, you're right.
Yeah, and like his shoulders, like his design isn't terrible. It does look like they looked at the game box art. They're like, okay, he's got the pointy shoulders like in his armor mode. His buster, I think, is about the appropriate level of power, but his design needed some work. I can accept the voice. The voice itself wasn't terrible. But some of the scripting and directing could have been a little bit better. Now, Vile, on the other hand, was absolutely spectacular. I love everything about Vile in that series.
Yeah, Vile.
Like, he stole the show. He absolutely took all the attention and ran with it.
Let me see here. I'm gonna catch up with chat real fast because there are a couple things here that I didn't get to read. So, Fev says they didn't know there was a Mega Man movie. Not an official one yet, but it's in the works from what we've heard. Vampire Kink asks if we heard about Gundam X. I have, but I know nothing about it.
Same.
And Justin's asking about any conventions I am going to. The answer to that question is check my Twitter. That's the easiest way to see what conventions I'm going to. But I'm not going to be down south like I was last year, Justin. So sorry to burst your bubble. All right, we should... Oh, there it goes. Yep, and this is 3 for DOS. So, once again, Rosner worked on this. Him and his brother and a friend of his all worked on this one. By this point, they were independent contractors. High Tech Expressions was publishing. To save cost, they used the same box art as Mega Man 3. Most of these guys came back again. Sharkman came back as a NetNavi, Waveman in 5, Oilman in Powered Up, Blade Man in 10, and Torchman in 11. But this isn't the same continuity, so shrug.
Yeah. I also want to say that I felt kind of robbed when Mega Man 10 came out and Blade Man was a thing, because my avatar there that I always use, the Red Knight looking dude, that's my Battle Network OC from like back in 4th, 5th grade, BladeMan.exe. Funny story about that, actually. I actually started... Okay, cut me a little bit of mercy because this is coming from the mind of an elementary schooler who is looking at a tiny Game Boy Advance screen. My original OC's name was TenguMan.exe because I got to look at Tengu Man and Mega Man at base, and like he had a really long pointy nose. I thought that was a horn, like on a helmet.
I see.
Yeah, and his weapon you got from him in Mega Man at base specifically was Tengu Blade, and I was like, that's really cool. There's no TenguMan.exe, dibs. And then Battle Network 6 comes out and actually has TenguMan.exe, and by that point I had access to the internet, and I'm like, oh, so Tengu Man is like this Japanese goblin thing. That's not at all what I was going for. Okay, well, I'm renaming the character Blade Man now. And then Blade Man came out in Mega Man 10, and he's like literally made of swords. I'm over here like, is this guy Archer from Fate? I am the bone of my sword. But it's just swords everywhere. He's literally a walking katana. But
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think that's the funniest joke.
Yeah. I kind of botched the joke because I meant to use, like, depending on how you translate the Unlimited Blade Works prayer, one way to translate it is, this body is made of swords. So that's kind of what I was going for.
Gotcha. Well, another thing I should say about this game was that it was originally not supposed to be a Mega Man game. It was mostly complete as its own hazmat suit-themed toxic crusader kind of thing, and then when they pitched it, the guys at Capcom loved it, but they said, can we make it Mega Man? Because apparently it was still selling like hotcakes, and this was just before 4 came out, so...
Kind of just do that to pad the wallet a little bit, just be like, yeah, hey, build hype for the next upcoming game.
Yep, and that's exactly what they did. And once again, it's not a bad game, but it's not a great game, and I don't recommend either of the DOS games to newcomers or longtime fans, unless you're that curious. Especially 3, because these maze-like stages actually make this incredibly difficult, and with the emulation not being, you know, as accurate as possible, it becomes incredibly difficult for me to go, yeah, play it. You'll have a fun time.
Yeah, it's like I got it pulled up on my monitor over here. I'm watching it, and at the point on my screen, you just fell in the spike pit and respawned. So I can tell it's chugging a little bit. It's and when you're doing action platforming over disappearing blocks on top of spikes, that is not a fun time at all. So
yeah, this is just a real struggle. And it's not because of any technical problems, it just comes down to DOS is just that old, and it's just that hard to emulate properly.
yeah, well, hard to emulate, but I think that if we were to get an official re-release like on Steam or what have you, then maybe it might be a bit more stable, because they use DOSBox for like the old Doom games, don't they?
Yeah, they do, but the old Doom games also have those are also source ports.
It's also a thing of Doom can run on literally anything. Literally anything.
Yeah,
So,
that's another thing. We don't have the source code for this game anymore, as far as I can tell.
oh.
We do for Doom. We don't for this.
Yeah, so that's going to make it difficult no matter what you do.
Yeah. Soma, I'm sorry that it's making you dizzy, but I promise we will be done with DOS and on to better running and looking games in just a bit. The bottom text...
Doom...
Oh, they're asking... Yeah, go for it.
Can Doom run on an Atari?
No.
But it can run on a TI-84.
So I've just come to a soft lock.
What? How?
What?
So, remember how I said the game is running way too fast at the start of the game?
Yeah?
And I don't have an intro stage to work out any tweaks in this one. Everything spawned in a couple pixels below where it was supposed to be. Except for MegaMan and the stage layout, so... Sharkman is down in the floor. The trigger is over here, like 3 tiles down, and I can't access the trigger for Sharkman.
That is unfortunate.
So we're stuck in this room, and I think with that, I've run through most of my trivia for this game.
And that's about all you care to do, so...
Let's get on to a better game that I know even less about.
Even less about...
Like, I can't hide it. I know absolutely nothing about the Game Gear game other than it exists.
So-
And when doing research, I couldn't find much more than it just exists.
Yeah, I was actually under the impression that the Game Gear was like an unofficial bootleg kind of thing. Like,
No.
I didn't even know if it was real or not.
It is in fact a real game. I am going to be running this through somewhat official methods. I've got my Mega SG hooked up with custom firmware, and I don't own a copy of this game, but I promise I will buy one when they re-release it, if they re-release it. But no, it is not a bootleg. It is an officially licensed title.
Now, originally I wanted to say I don't think they ever will, but we also recently got a Neo Geo Mega Man game re-released on Switch, so anything's possible.
Yeah, so it just comes down to luck and what Capcom feels like releasing. So, but yes, no, this is this is absolutely an official title, which is really weird for me to say. This game
Because it's basically just a mashup of like Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, but with like some crunched down 16-bit graphics.
4, 5, and 2.
4, 5, and 2? I thought it was 1 through 3. No, wait, that's Wily Wars.
That
That's
is the
Wily Wars.
Wily Wars, and that's a fantastic game that I sat and played through earlier on a couple weeks ago, and I was
Also on Switch.
I was so tired by the time I was done with that.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. If I had had a Sega Genesis growing up, then I probably would have liked that game if I had gotten to play it. I know it was like through the online Sega Channel only thing for the most part, But I was an SNES kid, so that's why anything that's like 16-bit with that style of graphics, like Mega Man X, Mega Man and Base, I just love it to death. A lot of people will throw shade at Mega Man and Base, and I'm just over here like I only have like one major complaint with it, and that's just one of the collectibles is at a very dickish place that is easy to miss, and you're going to burn a lot of lives trying to get it. But aside from that, I have next to no problems with it.
Alright, so let me run into everything we know about this game. US Gold is a UK company. They mostly did PC ports for Capcom. In fact, the same PC ports that Rosner was looking at back at his time working at Capcom USA. They also made a couple of really stupid financial decisions, and most of their games were utter flops. They're also the reason we have that putty game on PS4, which is strange. And their final game was Duke Nukem 3D, which is interesting, because right afterwards they got bought up by Eidos. To go along with the whole back to Rosner Labs thing, the DOS games actually stole assets from the original Duke Nukem, and then Duke Nukem 2 stole from assets of Mega Man 3 for DOS. So there's some weird connection between Duke Nukem, Rosner Labs, the UK, and this Mega Man Game Gear title, along with the DOS titles. So that's just about everything we know about this game. It was never released in Japan, and the Game Gear was discontinued 2 years later, so this one did not sell very well. The PlayStation was already out, and nobody can seem to find any of the developers for this game, and I'd love to know the history behind it, but that's all I know. Let's start with Stone Man, shall we?
The bottom text says, ironic how the company is called US Gold when it's in the UK. Why couldn't they call it UK Gold?
Because their big claim to fame was California games in the Olympic Games series on PC, which sold great in US territories. And all of those games were developed in their US branch in California.
That makes sense.
I wish I could say more about the history here, but this is the most, like, well put together game we're going to be playing today. And I think it's a pretty good send-off for Classic. Power-up's a much better one, but for a bonus vid, I think this works. So Blade, have you ever played this one?
No, I have not, but I told you a while back that Rio and I were doing our own, like, franchise-wide thing. We make very brief mention of this one, but we said we'll talk about it when we eventually get to talking about, like, rip-offs, bootlegs, and ports and things like that. Like the DOS games. I know those aren't bootlegs, so to speak, but you know what I'm saying. Like, not mainline titles. We were going to have a separate video for that, but we didn't really plan that far ahead because we still need to replay Star Force because... well, I'm kind of getting out of order here. When we initially did those videos, we had a recent enough memory of Classic, X, and Zero to belt out 3 videos back to back. And then we had the script for the Battle Network video done and recorded, and then the computer I was using died, and we lost the project. And then, 4 years after the fact, when Battle Network becomes relevant on my channel, that's when I decided to bring that video back, and we're going to talk about Star Force as well, but that was also 5 years ago at this point, and I haven't played Star Force at length in like 10 years, and Rio has never played it at length at all. Like, I think he played a little bit of one of the games, but we're not prepared to talk about it again yet, so... When I brought it back, and the video ends off with us saying, we're doing Mega Man Star Force next, and I'm like, yeah, we have to play through those games first. And I'm only just now getting to where I have, like, reliable streaming and recording software. I'm finally getting, like, some things upgraded, and we're getting a halfway decent recording schedule going. So it's not anywhere on the timeline at the moment. So to bring it back around, we would talk about the obscure spin-offs and non-mainline games, which includes the Game Gear game. It would have been after the Star Force video at some point. Whether it was immediately after or after we talked about the anime and manga and stuff, I'm not entirely certain, because the outline for that project, again, was 5 years ago. So,
Well, here's a little secret that the manual does not tell you.
what's that?
If you jump and then hold down the jump button and then press and hold up and then down and left and right, you can move the screen so the screen crunch isn't a problem. The game never tells you about this.
That's trippy, but at the same time, that could be incredibly useful, if not disorienting.
It's almost required at a point in the game, so... But I wanted to showcase that because everybody online who ever reviews this game is always like, the screen crunch is awful. Like, even the MegaMan homepage says it might pay off to have another person playing 5 and 4 in the background so you can map out the stages. And I'm like, so nobody knows about this. Got it.
How did you find out about it?
I found out about it through an old forum and messing around with this. I tried my best to play this game back on my PSP because I was a dork and loved to mod my systems and was like,
And the PSP is a fantastic console that was ahead of its time.
yes, and I wanted to give it a good go on there, and I was fiddling around, and eventually I was just like, I wonder what happens when I do this, and I just held the button, and then I was like, wait, the screen moved. And then I tried to look up if anybody knew about it, and I found an old GameFAQs forum from years and years ago, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then when doing a little bit of research before today, because I was like, you know, it's been a while since I've looked into any of this, maybe somebody knows a little bit more about US Gold or anything that was going on with this game. Nope, still nothing. In fact, people seem to have forgotten that, so that was all I could find, and yeah. This is just an interesting game. I don't really have anything more to add. It's just interesting. I do have a little bit of a headcanon thing for this game and the DOS games, though.
Alright, is it that they're their own separate timeline kind of deal?
Yeah, because the sprites are both just scuffed enough for me to go, yeah, and then... and then the ending of this game makes me go, and that's the ending where Mega Man killed Wily, and we'll stuff that in a corner.
You know, you also got to think about, you mentioned that the Game Gear version is 4, 5, and 2, whereas DOS was only 1 and 3. They skipped 2.
Yeah.
So that's 1 through 5. Just missing 6, and then you'd have the entire original NES hexology, so...
Yeah. Which, it isn't awful. I mean, the one stage from 2 that's here doesn't even have its boss, but, you know,
Aw.
they tried.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that near the end, I'm sure.
Yes. Over in my chat, Master Chief Snake has popped back in.
Hello.
Hey, Chief. I'll respond to your comments in just a moment. I'm playing Boomer Coanger stage, riding up the elevator, trying not to get hit with spikes.
If you want, Case, you can boot up the stream and check it out.
Sure. I don't have a link immediately on hand, but do you have a link to my channel somewhere?
I got it.
Okay, thank you.
Let me search it up. I believe it should be Blade Cross as well.
No, it's Flashing Blades. It's
Flashing Blades? Okay,
yes, yes.
I knew that you operated with them. I just didn't know if it was them in specific or if you had your own.
I do have my own, but it's not necessarily affiliated. It's my own personal channel, and I used to post like a bunch of AMVs and lightsaber reviews and stuff on there. Haven't really actually posted anything in like 7-8 years at this point, which I need to get back on doing that. But Flashing Blades is a separate channel. It's where the majority of my content is.
Okay, give me one.
Casey, can you speak up a bit? Because you're really quiet.
Yeah, I wasn't close to my mic.
Gotcha.
Because my mic is more towards my second monitor compared to my laptop where I'm looking from. It's on Twitch, right? Or is it on YouTube?
Nah, I'm sure on YouTube. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah. For some reason, Streamlabs crunched down my chat box. Okay, now I can see it.
I suppose I should probably give a little shout out to you guys then, because they probably don't realize there's another stream going on in the background. So, folks watching on the Flashing Blade side, I'm Gavin Dragon, or Gavin Kitty, or whatever you want to call me. I am doing DOS and Mega Man for Game Gear on my side of things, and I believe the link's in the description for it.
It is, yes.
So, go check that out, and then head back to Blade's side of things. If you wish, I've been doing Mega Man stuff all month long, and after this game is done, we're going to be doing X, and the entire X series going into this month.
Yeah.
I'm sure Casey's stoked.
Let's see, Chief is talking about a cameo reference in the Beast Plus arc of the anime. I did watch a couple episodes of Beast Plus. I didn't recognize all the cameos because they're like Japanese exclusive stuff, I think. There was a couple of background characters that looked like they could have been references to other things, but I didn't really recognize any of the references off the top of my head. Someone said that there was a gun tank from Gundam in one of the episodes because one of the navies was like a caterpillar loader looking thing with like treads. It was really boxy. And I'm like, nah, it's got a similar silhouette, but I don't think it's exactly the same. But one thing that I don't really understand, this Gundam reference in Mega Man Legends 2, for the models of both Roll and I think it's Barrel, there are just random textures that are the shape of mobile suits in the character model. Like if you look at the model ripped, like the texture that goes on the models, you have like RGM79 Jim, and you have the MSM04 Act Guy. And I'm like, why is that there? It's like you can't see it in game, but why is that like on their textures? It's just weird.
I mean, it's not the only time that something weird like that's happened. Like, Pokemon had some unused sprites for Gundams and stuff.
Really?
Like, a Gundam, there was one of the Mega Man Battle Network games, I think, had Pikachu somewhere in the sprites that wasn't in the actual... that wasn't the throw rug and the head in Yai's house.
It wasn't that? Like, there's actually another Pikachu somewhere?
There's another Pikachu somewhere in the code that's unused.
Oh, wow. You know, with all the years that I spent on Sprites Inc., with looking at all the sprites they have, because I used to do some custom sprite work, I'm surprised I never came across that.
I've been looking through cutting room floor and stuff, because Sprites Inc. hasn't been updated in quite some time.
Yeah, it has been a good bit. But you know, when the majority of your focus, or at least it was for a long time, is Mega Man stuff, and we haven't had a new Mega Man sprite game in a very long time, what are you supposed to do, right?
That's fair. I mean, the forums are still great. They're a great resource for fan games, but I do wish they'd be a bit more proactive in ripping some of the other 2D assets from these games, because there's a lot from 11 that still needs to be ripped. There's stuff from the Battle Network Legacy now that needs to be ripped. Oh, I think we should move on to the Legacy Collection, actually, because how have you been faring with it?
I've been taking it a little bit slow. I took my sweet time playing Battle Network 2. I am almost completely done with it, except for I need the last few secret chips, and then I need to run the game on hard mode, which I've never actually done before. So I'm about to do something that I wanted to do since I was a kid. But all I gotta say is I'm loving it. It's spectacular. That sales chart sweep, though, to where it sold over 1 million copies in less than 2 weeks.
That had me really, really giddy and very, very happy.
Because, I mean, like, if the commonly accepted speculation that Capcom makes new games based on the sales of Legacy Collections is true, like, I'm sure there's some truth to it. But if it is true, then there is absolutely no way we are not getting more Mega Man content after this.
I think there's some truth into it, but I don't think they go by that anymore, especially after the Darkstalkers collection went and did really well. Because that did well, and they even said they were like, no, we were just re-releasing it to re-release it so people could play it.
Yeah, and it's like... Darkstalkers has been reduced to basically cameo roles, you know, ever since their last game. Like, they'll show up in cameos left and right in Project Cross Zone and Marvel vs. Capcom, and cameos and references in Dead Rising, but nowhere in like a new game in I don't even know how many years it's been at this point, because I know Darkstalker secondhand, but still, there are fans out there who still love it and would love to see it come back.
Yeah. I know that, so for my Battle Network side of the Legacy Collection has been doing, I have been blitzing through these games as fast as possible.
Yeah, once I get Rio back over here to stream, we'll continue to do so, because we blitzed Battle Network 1, we got to the Quick Minute Scenario Battle Network 2, but we haven't been able to get back together since. Our schedules just didn't line up this week, so we're not having to stream this week. So that's why I'm kind of flying solo today. But,
kind of solo.
Yeah. Well, solo on my side, like, of the two main users of this channel, it's just me instead of me and Rio. So this is the first solo stream I've done where I'm actually doing something aside from just script recording. But, yes, so, did you... Yes, yeah, you played the games to make your retrospective before the collection came out, so... But, how are you enjoying it on the collection? Like, do you feel like it's faithful? Do you feel like it's well-balanced?
Let me go game by game, because I've got some choice words for some of these.
Hey,
Yeah.
Blade?
Yes? Yes.
Somebody in your chat says if Gavin is meant to be heard on the stream, they can't hear them at all.
Oh, really? Oh. That's not good, because I thought I had the Discord audio going.
Huh.
Yeah, it showed... Oh, okay, hold on. Let
I'm
me
monitoring
adjust...
both chats at the same time. This is crazy.
Okay, so yeah, we're just sitting here for basically an hour, me talking to myself like a crazy person. Okay,
Joy!
I adjusted the audio. How's that?
You're not?
Casey, could you do some audio checking for me?
Isaac,
Yeah,
is Gavin back over there on, can you hear him now?
I'm sure my chat's been able to hear everybody. Because I double and triple check this stuff constantly.
I will ask forgiveness. This is my first time trying to
They can
use
hear us
Discord
now.
in a stream, so...
They can hear us now.
Okay.
That's good.
I have both streams pulled up, so I have Gavin on my phone and you on my computer, so my computer doesn't overheat.
That's incredibly embarrassing. This stream might go unlisted after I'm done getting footage then.
Oh no! Well, at least they'll get the whole entirety of my side on my channel.
Yeah.
So...
Yo, you can mix the audio that way. Mute the audio from your stream when it comes to the voices, and then just put the voices from here onto there.
Yeah, you could have...
Patch it up.
I'll have to do some tinkering with that later, because I have no clue how to do that. And again, I'm sorry, I've never used Discord voice chat on stream before, so this is a learning experience for me.
It really is a learning experience, but it's a good experience to have. Trust me, there was an entire stream where I was dead silent, and chat didn't tell me until the end of the stream, and they were like, yeah, we can only hear your boyfriend. I was like, oh, you're kidding me.
Bruh.
Yeah, and that stream is still up, because I was like, that was funny, but...
I've had a similar stream, except for everyone was doing it for the funny. They weren't telling me anything. I had no idea my mic was muted until, like, the very end.
Well, so, let me see here. But yeah, I'd like to go game by game with the Legacy Collection, because I've got some choice words on some of these games.
Please do.
So, Battle Network 1. I rushed all the way through it. It wasn't really my first one that I wanted to go for, because I've been playing through Battle Network 1 since forever, and overall, was super happy with how that one turned out. I do wish we got Operation Shooting Star instead, but what can you do? I'll take it. Battle Network 1 is a fine game. It ran all right. And then I moved on to 2, and I had a guide open the entire time with these games too, because I'm trying to do 100% on these games.
Yes.
And for reference, I'm running the PlayStation 4 version because I like trophies, and I've got every other Legacy collection on PlayStation. I've also got them on Switch, but not the Zero collection, and I was like, I'll just try to keep to the physical versions on PS4. And I for 2 at least, I was having fun. The Iceman, Freeze Man scenario came up. That slogged me out for about 6 hours, even though I had a guide open. And then, the rest of the game went fine. And then Battle Network 3 came around. I'm still not done with 3 yet, but that comes more down to I really don't. I played 3 a lot as a kid, so for me, 3 is one of those games where if I'm playing through it again, I have to have a good reason. And then we got to 4, which was actually the first one I started playing on there. And I blitzed through it in Buster Max and had a great time. Actually ended up walking away with more of a positive opinion on 4 than what we did during the retrospective.
And then you had to play through it again. And again.
And again. And I still had a positive opinion. My only problem now was I didn't do the guide right, and I missed a bunch of chips, and I've got to play through it again and again. 5 was a really fun time. I was doing Team Proto Man for a change, and
like I said during our little during our cameo in your video, I recommend Team Proto Man for fun, Team Colonel for story. So
yeah. Well, Proto Man was really fun. I'm actually most of the way through the post game on that one. And then we got to 6, and 6 is where I start to have a problem. Not with the game, not with the playthrough itself, but that post game bug is really annoying.
Which one? The Anubis or the Virus Battler?
Virus Battler. What's the Anubis one?
The Anubis one is a soft lock that was exclusive to the Japanese version. It's been fixed now because you have access to every e-reader card, but it was basically a thing of if you do a certain BBS request that requires Poison Pharaoh, and then you save the game, if you can't access Poison Pharaoh yet, which is because in the Japanese version, the chip was locked behind a gate where you would need every Mega chip, but the last 2 that you need, Proto Man EX and SP, are locked behind you actually completing a certain number of requests. So if you take them out of order, you can softlock yourself.
Yeah, didn't encounter that one, luckily, because it doesn't exist, but...
Oh, what was the glitch that you found the other day?
Oh, if in the Virus Battler, if you load up a virus, back out of the virus, load up 2 more viruses, and just keep shifting left and right between those, and loading in more viruses on top of a panel, exiting back to the menu, eventually you'll lag the game so bad it crashes.
Yeah. I haven't had the game crash on me yet, but...
This is a consistent thing. I can actually show it to you. So, after the stream, I'll try to get some footage of it, and I'll show it to you, and you can give it a shot. But I got the game to consistently crash twice. Like, it submitted a PS5 error and everything.
So, was that the only problem you had with the Virus Battle, or did you run into the Django glitch?
I knew about the Django glitch. It just really annoyed me that I had to keep switching between the Japanese and English versions.
Yeah,
I don't know why they haven't patched it yet.
I really feel like that they could and probably should get on that. They should be able to fix that. Because
on PC they've already got it up to where you can change the font and change the text, and they got it to fix.
As far as I'm aware, those are fan mods, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They are fan mods. And I don't really, believe it or not, I actually don't have any issues with the text. The text changes for it, perfectly fine. My next issue, my most major issue, comes with the multiplayer.
Yeah.
On PlayStation, good freaking luck. Everyone's on Switch. Yes. I've heard the same complaint from PC players. You cannot get into battles. The one time I got into a battle, I got my ass handed to me, but I was so happy to get in a battle that I didn't care.
Did anyone expect otherwise, though? Because this game was portable, and we all wanted it on portable to relive old time. We just have a bigger screen now. So, to me, I expected that.
I at least wanted, moderate amounts of people. I didn't expect everybody to jump to the Switch. It just kind of was like, oh, I just got shafted because everything else because of the no crossplay thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they can introduce crossplay later. It'd be cool if it could, but I think that might not be possible. But I that's why I bought it for every console. Or well, Rio has it for Switch, or for Steam. I don't yet, but we have it on PS4. I've been playing it for myself on Switch. But once we get done with the story on PS4 version, then I'll start level grinding for multiplayer.
I'll give it a shot on Switch when I get around to it, but right off the bat, I just wanted to play it on PlayStation. I'm annoyed at the multiplayer, but I'm so glad none of the achievements are tied to it. That actually makes it... That makes me feel like, okay, at least they thought ahead that some of these versions might not get the love they deserve.
Yeah.
Because other than that, Battle Network 4 was super stable this time around. Battle Network 3 feels pretty good. Most of the more minor changes were fine. Honestly, I feel like these are the best versions to play. I'm glad I can recommend the Legacy Collection. But if you're playing it for the online mode, just get the Switch or PC version, because PlayStation is mostly people playing it for the story, which is fine.
I will object to that statement on 2 points. Best version to play, I would only contest that in that Operation Shooting Star is better than Battle Network 1, and the objective best way to play 5 is on the DS.
That's true, but I'm still just saying for the majority of people.
Yeah, yes, it's the most readily available version. If you don't
it's the version that it's not going to break the bank, because like I keep an eye on the game prices for these games because I want to be able to recommend them to people and be like, okay, here's how much you're average to spend. And if I have to recommend a $100 DS copy of BN5, then it's not that accessible.
I'll concur on that. I can say that it's great because I've had mine since it came out, and I still have it, and I still play it. So,
I have mine as well. I got it from a GameStop for $12.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I'm just glad I have a version of these games that I can recommend to newcomers. I've done little battles between my roommate Brent and me, and then, of course, me and Casey and my boyfriend Truman all ended up playing a little tournament from the other room. Actually, while we're on the snail boss here, because this is the last time I'm going to get to show this off, he dies to one normal buster shot in this game.
Why?
I don't know. I really don't know. I just wanted to say that because it's really odd to see it the first time, because usually it's like, oh, a charge shot. Maybe that was the right amount of health for him, because they upped Mega Man's Buster shot from 3 to 4 on this game. So to see one shot just take out the giant snail in Toadman stage is so strange. Speaking of Toadman, Iron Torch, I believe, mentioned something like this. Or no, Soma did, and then Iron Torch said something about the boss being easy peasy, which is not the case here. Actually, Toadman is one of the most difficult bosses in this game.
Not as difficult as the spider in Sigma's castle.
I'm actually fighting that right now, literally. Oh, is that why you said that?
Yeah, that's why I said that.
Yeah.
You can ask Gavin. I struggle with that boss.
She did.
I think
absolutely.
I think it's really funny. There actually was a in Metroid Fusion. Yeah, the Metroid Fusion. I'm pretty sure that they have a boss that was inspired by Boss Spider here. So I just thought that was pretty funny.
No spoilers. I haven't beaten it yet.
I don't remember where it is. It just seems similar. Like, it may only be from an aesthetic standpoint that it's like kind of on the background and moving around, but it's not. It's not a big spoiler.
All right.
So I'm actually coming to the end of Game Gear here. This is the second to final stage. Once we finish up with Toadman, we'll get to the whole Mega Man 2 part of this game, and then we'll off to Wily.
Dr. Wowie.
Dr. Wowie. We have to stop Dr. Wowie.
You must collect all the energy immediately, Mega Man.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Joke made by me in this house. You can ask everyone.
Yeah.
If you hey, Blade, if you ever need a Dr. Light impression, I think I got one for you.
I'll take you up on that. If I ever need MegaMan 8 Dr. Light, then I'll.
Oh no! Not 8 Dr. Light.
Oh.
He's talking
We
about
have to we have to find all the energy elements, Mega Man.
Yeah, that's MegaMan 8, isn't it?
No, it's
No,
not Elmer
8?
Fudd. I'm not
No.
doing an Elmer Fudd impression, Bud.
8 is this. You have to find all the energy resources. Mega Man?
Which game were you referencing then? Because
I'm referencing Mega Man 11.
I haven't finished that one yet. I've actually started that one. I've got about halfway through it. I put it down a couple months ago and just haven't picked it back up yet because I got busy. I was actually playing.
Finish it. It's really, really good.
I was actually playing it on a road trip. I think we were coming back from a convention, and on the way down there and on the way back, I was playing it on my Switch while we were just driving, and I was in the back seat for once. So.
So, Blade, if you want to take a gander over here at my screen, the final stage of this game is Quickman's level.
Oh boy! So you're about to have to face the insta-death beams, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. Don't worry. I'm good at this.
Welcome to die.
Welcome to die. I'm good at this. I did this Buster only on both Genesis and NES. It used to be my banner for the longest time because for a while I thought it was the only major achievement I was going to do, and now I'm nearly 600 subs in, and I'm very proud about what I've accomplished so far.
You should be.
Oh, that was a major change here. The beams were changed from instant death to only instant death some of the time.
Huh. That's fishy.
Yeah, you can actually smack right into them, but not directly.
Wait, you don't think it's because of the screen transition that happened? That's just me speaking.
It probably is because of the screen transition, but the hitboxes for them are very weird. They forgot the Joes in this room. They didn't even decide to replace them, and then instead of fighting Quickman, we just get to the center of the boss room and we teleport out back to Mega Man 5's castle.
So just no Quickman at all. Just.
Nope. We got two bosses. Two bosses from. We got two bosses from 4. 4 bosses from 5. The final castle level from Mega Man 5 and Quickman stage. And then instead of a boss refight, we're just right into this chunky version of Wily, which fits just in line with the really chunky version of Wily that appeared in DOS. I'm telling you, there's a connection here. I just...
I'm telling you, I'm not crazy. They're connected.
I'm probably crazy.
I have heard weaker connections made, so...
No, don't go!
I mean, between Duke Nukem, the developers, Rosner Labs, and the DOS games, and this game's sprites, I don't think... I think I could have made a much weaker connection being like, but they both never came out in Japan.
On my chat, Isaac asks, what game is Gavin playing? Gavin's playing Mega Man for Game Gear, which is apparently some weird hybrid of Mega Man 4, 5, and one level for Mega Man 2. But it's done in crunched down 16-bit sprites because it's a portable Sega console.
But they're also just the NES sprites slightly edited.
Yeah.
Find it funny that we're all playing Capcom titles?
Oh, what are you playing?
Resident Evil 4.
Oh, right. Oh, boy. I hope they actually come over and check out the channel, because...
Yeah.
I woke up this morning to 621 subs, and a bunch... I spent... I sent it to the screenshot to a bunch of my friends, and they were just like, the funny number. If you know, you know. I can't say much more.
Casey can't see you? Yes, I can. I can see what you're saying. I haven't been able to read because, I don't want to interrupt them.
Yeah. I do not know why that number is funny. I'll ask you off screen.
It's a furry in joke. Don't worry about it.
Okay. So I'm actually getting the Hadouken right now. I wanted to make this point when we were talking about MegaMan X on iOS earlier. The one funny thing that I will give that game is that when Dr. Light shows up all dressed in his Street Fighter gi and he offers to give you the Hadouken, he actually goes on this tangent about how he mastered this technique by doing some like intense training in the waterfalls in the background of the stage because it's Armored Armadillo's level. He said that he sat under those waterfalls for like days on end trying to find his inner strength, and then he finally mastered it, and now he's teaching it to you. And I'm like, okay, they actually managed to pull something funny out of this, and that has not been in any other version of Mega Man X. You know, none of the re-releases. One in Maverick Hunter. It's exclusive to the mobile game, and I think that's funny. So you get you get one.
I would absolutely give it to Capcom to put other locations of their games in the background of others. I could just see them doing it. In fact, I've noticed them do that a couple times.
Well, yeah, like in
pointed out
in several games, you'll find the Final Fight series. You'll have Capcom or not Capcom Street Fighter characters in the background. Like you got Chun-Li is in the background of one of them.
Let's not. Street Fighter V had a huge connection to the start of the Strider clan, with one of their characters being the literal start of the Striders. So
I actually have a minor headcanon that Capcom is actually a multiverse, that everything is connected in and out somehow.
Oh, so I'm not the only one who came up with that theory. Great.
Well, it's because it's like they just have so many crossovers and references that in some way, if they're not all connected to each other directly, then they have to be indirectly connected in a multiverse kind of thing. Because I don't know if you watched the big Colossal Iceberg video that we did, but one of the points on the iceberg was Battle Network, or Mega Man is an IP within Battle Network, because you got like all the Mega Man Legends throwbacks and things of that nature.
I could reference how Dr. Light and Wily exist in the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3. But we just got Mission Perfect, and Dr. Wily was destroyed in the cockpit, and now there's fireworks, and now we can shove the DOS timeline in the corner and never talk about it again.
But it's like...
See, here, this is where Mega Man has killed Wily. Therefore, my theory is correct.
So this is the end of the timeline in Mega Man 7 where he actually pulls the trigger.
Yeah, sure, let's go with that.
But
yeah, wait, what games are in DOS 3?
What?
Which games were in the DOS game that you just played, or at least the hybrid of?
That one wasn't a DOS game. It was a Sega Game Gear.
Or the Game Gear one. Excuse me.
That was 4, 5, and 2, which adds up with 1 and 3 for DOS. 1 being the start of the series, this being the end, and then 3 being in the middle.
4 of those numbers added up equals 7, so yeah, I can see where he'd draw that theory.
So this is Mega Man 7, everybody.
I was actually just completely pulling that out of my butt from the ending line of the game, at least in the English version. Oh, wait, Dr. Wily's alive on your screen. Okay, never mind. So I guess he survived.
Yeah, but I also see that this is just a thanks for playing screen. In fact, this is where the game crashes.
Yeah. But,
my chat is going crazy. Yes, Skylar, I see you. We said hi early on in the stream. It's because they said how are you doing, and I didn't respond immediately because you guys were talking, and you know me, I don't like to interrupt the streamers. Oh, you're good.
And he's like, okay, well, you're ignoring me.
Just chill, bro. Chill. It's all good. Blade, what were you saying?
On my chat, Sir Isaac asks, Capcom Kingdom Hearts when? That's what I was going to say, because not only do we have Legends and Classic Mega Man showing up as seemingly an IP in EXE, because you got like all the Legends references. You have a poster of Duo from the Classic series. You got posters of Zero and Vile. So that implies that Mega Man exists in the universe of EXE, but as a purchasable item. And then in Mega Man Legends, they make reference to the video game Resident Evil in Mega Man Legends 1 and 2. And then I'm over here looking at Dead Rising, where you have Mega Man is referenced as an IP, to where you can get like the toy Mega Buster. There's a movie poster for Mega Man 2. You got the Proto Man armor from Off the Record. You got the Zero armor from Dead Rising 4. I'm not counting the Capcom Heroes thing because that's like a DLC. But as far as I recall, Zero armor is a thing.
Devil May Cry 5 has the Mega Buster technology.
So there's that. I'm not even counting Project Cross Zone or things like that in this case. But I think that there is some form of Capcom multiverse in place somewhere. You know,
if Blade, if I make a video on that, I'm having you on, and we're compiling our thoughts.
I have one for you two that you guys might think is kind of crazy.
All right, bring it.
Go.
Are you both familiar with Resident Evil Survivor?
I know of it, but I've never played it. I know that was like one of the few first-person shooter Resident Evil games, if not the only one.
Never played it.
In one of the houses, about halfway through the story, in a child's room, you can see a poster for Street Fighter, along with a poster for Ghosts and Goblins.
All right, so and that one actually is technically canon to the Resident Evil timeline, if I'm not mistaken. So there's that, and
so are the remakes of 2 and 3 with the whole Mega Man.
Do we have a confirmation that Dead Rising and Resident Evil are connected somehow?
Yes. There is the Umbrella logo shows up a couple times in Dead Rising, but I don't know what it's connected to.
I forgot about that, and that, well, in universe, they're not responsible for the zombie virus unless you want to say Dr. Barnaby was working for them, and that's how he got his research funded and furthered and all that, so that could be a thing. I'm trying to remember the name of the organization from Dead Rising 4 that was, like, trying to start a new zombie outbreak to create basically zombie slaves, but I don't remember what their name was.
So I'm going back in for more Game Gear as we're discussing this, because I wanted to try the hard mode real fast. I haven't reached my 2-hour mark yet, and usually that's what I strive for.
Yeah. Now, I'm on Sigma's Fortress level 3, and I've gotten the Hadouken, I've gotten all the weapons and items, so I'm just basically just going through and just slaughtering my way through all the Mavericks.
Are you familiar with Maverick Hunter X's little secret?
Which secret specifically are you talking about?
When you get around to recording it, I would recommend not getting the Buster upgrade.
Oh yes. You actually get the Z Buster instead of the X Buster. Yes,
it acts completely different.
Yep, and like even to this day, I still prefer to grab the Zero Buster as opposed to the X Buster from Dr. Light, just because narratively it's so much better.
I have only ever done it once because it is really difficult to do.
But like every time I play through Maverick Hunter, I will opt to wait for the Z Buster instead. It actually does more damage than the X Buster does, if I'm not mistaken. But
it does. It shreds bosses, but
that's yeah. I have some thoughts and complaints about how they rearranged some things in Maverick Hunter compared to the original X, but I'll save that for my breakdown.
I love Maverick Hunter too much to bash it.
I do too, especially since the guy that got to voice X, I could not have picked anyone better. Mark Gotha. This man was made to voice Mega Man X.
So, when are we going to get Mark and, oh shoot, what's his name? Johnny Young Bosch as Zero in one game together. I want to see it.
We're not, because Mark Gotha actually retired from voice acting and he is a doctor now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yep. Got it.
No, I keep up with Mark Gotha a little bit because he also voiced the main character of my favorite Gundam series, Domon Kashu. And, okay, you know the whole thing in Day of Sigma when X's hand just starts glowing and he just grabs Sigma by the face and, like, tries to rip his face off?
Yeah, the X Factor, yep.
Okay, that is clearly a reference to Domon Kashu's signature move in G Gundam, Shining Finger. It's literally the exact same thing. The only difference is in G Gundam, when Domon grabs you by the head, he crushes your Gundam's head. That's the only difference. But they're voiced by the same dude, at least in the English version, so that has to be a direct reference. There is absolutely no way it's a coincidence.
They knew what they were doing.
Exactly. And like, like I'm also not entirely convinced that Zero Gunmu, his gigantic energy sword, and then it fires a shockwave. I'm not convinced that that isn't a reference to Shining Finger's sword, which is basically you take Shining Finger's energy, channel it into a giant beam saber, and just cut down anything in your path. Like, there's Gundam references in a lot of different places in Mega Man, and that's just the most glaring one.
And let's not forget all the other anime references in these series.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's see here. They've got Fist of the North Star, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Sailor Moon.
Everything is a JoJo reference if you try hard enough.
Absolutely. I remember the chat was freaking out when we were playing Powered Up because Mega Man does the Sailor Moon transformation in that.
I completely forgot about that.
It was so cute. I love Powered Up.
Okay, I'm not gonna pretend that I'm crazy about the art style, but I don't hate it. It's honestly reminds me of Kirby. It's like Kirby-fied Mega Man, but the gameplay is hard. Like, it's challenging.
I love it. It's amazing. It's perfect. Never change it. God, I want Powered Up too.
I would love a Maverick Hunter 2 and 3, just, someday, but, it's not going to happen now, because...
Round off the trilogy, give Dr. Kane the rest he deserves.
Because he's dead. He got blown up during Day of Sigma. Like, just boom. He's gone. Isaac says... Mark's voice acting was excellent during the end sequence. Yep, during, the righteous fury in his voice when he's confronting Sigma is just spectacular. And he played two characters that were really important to my childhood and close to my heart, so, of course, I just gush over this man's voice. So, but,
I'm kind of the same way with Johnny Young Bosch, because he played the Black Ranger, of course, and the Green Ranger on Zeo, and... For me, when he showed up in Power Rangers, I didn't know who the guy was. And then I kept hearing his voice in, games and shows and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is just... The voice is just now forever going to be in my mind. I'd love to meet a lot of the people that I've heard voice act stuff, because I really started to learn how to do different voices once I realized how many people were just, doing that as a profession. I was like, oh... Let me just try a voice here or there. And I can get kind of close, but... Definitely nothing on par with the professionals.
Yeah. Well, gotta start somewhere, though, right? And
yeah.
Hey, look at Bryce Papenbrook. He uses the exact same voice for every character except for Caesar Zeppeli and Inosuke. But he still voices, every other shonen protag in, the past 10 years.
I like Matt Mercer. He does a really good...
Kiritsugu Emiya. Yes. And Jotaro too. So.
Yeah, that's where I was coming from.
I'm actually, you know what I'm going to be doing? I think after I show off the game over scene here, I'm actually going to call my stream and then just stick around on yours. If that seems like a plan.
Works for me. I just beat D-Rex, so I'm actually about at the end of Mega Man X. So we're entering the last stage here. Yes.
Lovely.
Master Chief Snake says Mark Gotha did voice Lan on the DS version of Battle Network 5. That is correct. And I just wish that he would come back as a voice actor. I get you gotta do what you gotta do, and no disrespect to being a doctor at all. I just really love his voice, and I wish that he would come back and voice my favorite character again, because I am very emotionally attached to Mega Man and Gundam. So
imagine breaking your arm and the doctor who fixes it is MegaMan X.
Dude, fixing my arm?
He may be Mega Man X, but to me, he'll always be Domon Kashu. And of course, I've heard the joke multiple times. It's an unfortunate joke, but people ask, because Mark Gotha's a doctor now, whenever he has to give someone a prostate exam, does he shout "Shining Finger"?
Oh my god!
I did not come up with that one. I've heard that too many times, but I don't think he's that kind of doctor. He's a surgeon. I don't really know exactly what kind, but
so I just broke the game.
You think?
Yeah, I'm seeing glitchy text over there and glitchy textures and stuff.
I don't know what happened, but
Oh.
now I'm curious. But regardless of that, if you noticed, it was Charge Man's theme for the Game Over track.
Will not break. Will not break. It broke.
It broke. It broke. It broke all of it. So I'm gonna do my little outro here and then just join on your side of things.
Well, hurry, because I'm fighting Sigma right now. I just Hadoukened his first form, and I'm on the final boss now.
All right, well, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please follow me on Twitter at GavinDragonYT, or you can donate to the PayPal link on your screen or in the description below. For people on Blade's side, it's all over here on the on my video. There'll be stuff to click on once YouTube gets done processing all this stuff. And I'll join you guys later this week with some different stuff, and then next week with the start of the MegaMan X marathon. I've been your humble host. Good night, everybody. All right, my side of things are done.
One thing that I thought, I'm not sure if I liked it about Maverick Hunter, was that Sigma's final form is actually vulnerable to the insta-kill Hadouken. It's not in any version of the original game. Like, you actually manage to even hit him with it, it just goes ding and does nothing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's 2 enemies in the game that are not vulnerable to the Hadouken as an insta-kill. One is Sigma, like his final form. Good luck getting up there, but if you do manage to, it just bounces off, does no damage. The other one is the Mole Borer Mechanaloid, that big mining mole thing in Armored Armadillo stage. It takes 2 shots to the back to kill it. I don't know why, but it just does.
Odd.
Yeah. I know a lot of random obscure trivia and ins and outs of. Oh, come on, that hitbox is way too wide.
I do know that there is one other character that throws a Hadouken other than X in the game.
Magma Dragoon.
Armored Armadillo.
It shoots it out of his forehead. It's the same sprite, isn't it?
It is the exact same sprite. It's meant to be smaller versions of the Hadouken.
Yep. There's a glitch where if you're playing on Armored Armadillo's stage, when you get to the final minecart section, if you throw a Hadouken and then unleash a full power charge shot, all the little purple energy orbs will turn into a bunch of tiny Hadoukens. They don't insta-kill, but it looks nice.
All right. Well, there we go. I'm now over on this side. I'm going to post the link in the chat real fast for the stream.
Master Chief Snake, his name is Brad Swale.
I should probably switch that to live chat so I could read it out loud. Casey, if you need to go and take a break or something or rest, go.
I'm good.
All right. I'm just making sure.
Oh, wait, you're right. I do have to set up for stream tonight. Oops.
Yeah, you go do your thing. I'm shoving everything in everywhere, I guess, today.
Well, I only got what? 20-something-ish minutes. Nah, I'm good. I can.
You set up. You go set up.
I set up at 8 because you know I start at 9.
I just like to make sure that you're all set up and everything because I know the mirror box can throw a fit sometimes when you try to record from it.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh boy, that's probably something I should go into. I have a capture card. It's called the Mirror Box. I spent like $35 on it. And that's
what capture software do you usually use, or hardware?
OBS.
Oh.
Hardware-wise, it's the Mirror Box. Software-side, it's OBS.
Right. I have Elgato stuff. Like, I actually had 2 of the Game Capture HDs, and I just sold one of them because it's not compatible with OBS, and I'm keeping the other one because it actually has composite input. So that way I can still record, like, stuff off of VCR or something if I need to in the future. I've actually been considering setting up a little tiny side business to do, like, digitizing VHS tapes and like cassette tapes and all that, because I was at a friend's electronic repair shop yesterday, and this lady walked in and she said that she had some tapes that she wanted digitized, and they've done some work for her before, And my friend who was there with me said that since I have like all the recording stuff, that I could do that as like a side hustle. It's just a matter of how would I advertise it, because I get that like a lot of old people aren't gonna really know a lot about, you know, this kind of thing. So there's a market for it. I just need to figure out a way to get the word out. So it'd just be a little side thing that I do if I decide to pursue this.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, and it's I actually managed to save an old DVD that I recorded at a con. Like, I borrowed my Nana's camcorder that recorded on DVDs, and I forgot to finalize or I forgot to format it properly. And it recorded, but because I didn't format it properly, I couldn't finalize it. Therefore, I couldn't like play it in a player or put it in a computer and rip it directly. So it's just stuck in this perpetual limbo state of it exists, but it's not finalizable. So years later, I got the capture card, I got the camera back, and then I just plugged the AV cable from the camera into the capture card and capture it directly. So I managed to save the footage.
Nice.
So I could do stuff like that with like VCRs, and I could do it with cassette tapes and stuff. So that's just something that I've been entertaining the idea of doing. But that's why I'm keeping the older capture card, so that way I can access this stuff. Like I just posted the video about that bootleg Mega Man Legends or Mega Man Zero collection for Game Boy Advanced. I needed to use my SNES to record that because I don't have a Game Boy player, but I have a it's called the Super Retro Advanced adapter, to where it lets you play Game Boy Advance games on Super Nintendo.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so I needed to show that it could link to Battle Network 4, and I needed a way to record that. But it only has like an AV cable out to where it's got like the red and yellow. Yeah, the red and yellow prongs. So I needed to use the old capture card for that. So I kept one of them, sold the other one, and I'm trying to buy another updated one, which is the HD60S, which is technically still a legacy product. It's still technically retired, but it's recent enough that it will be recognized on Streamlabs. So that's where we're at right now.
Congratulations on beating Sigma, by the way.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Love this game. Beat this game more times than I can count. I actually recorded all the gameplay footage I need for the video in question about 2.5 years ago. I've got footage from X1 on SNES, the PS2 version of the X collection, the PS4 version of the Legacy collection, a tiny little bit of cam footage on the 3DS version of the Virtual Console, and I also have a full game recorded of Maverick Hunter, and I finally have it on Wii U. And I'm like, okay, well, so let's just go and record this, and now I've got all the gameplay footage I need to start making the video. I may not record the Legacy Collection for Switch because it's hard to play Mega Man X on Switch. The Joy-Con, the controller is too small for my hands for this game.
Do you want me to record you some Switch footage?
Sure, if you wouldn't mind. Mostly because I would like to have as much as I can for every little aspect of it. If I had a better controller, I'd do it myself, but while I do like the Joy-Con well enough, I got big, beefy hands, and when it comes to these games specifically, I have very specific muscle memory, and none of my other controllers give me that problem. Even the Wii U gamepad that I'm using right now works just fine.
I'll see about getting you some footage in the next couple days.
I'd appreciate that. Pretty much the only thing I would really need is if you don't want to do full game playthrough, just like the opening of each level and the opening of each boss fight, because one major thing I was going to talk about in between versions was there is a bit of a lag in the PS2 version when it comes to entering a stage and starting the final boss with Sigma. The music isn't synced up properly, and the music actually doesn't even loop in the PS2 version. It just stops and then restarts.
Sir Isaac is asking if the stream's going to end now, and also says that you need a pro controller.
Yeah, they actually make like a Mega Man themed nice big controller that I was thinking about getting, but you have to play it in portable mode. You can't.
There is an adapter for it.
Yeah,
that turns into a wireless controller, but you have to buy the other
Controller,
SplitPad
yeah.
Pro for it. So it's two $70 price tags right in a row.
exactly. So that's why I haven't done that yet. Where was I going? But actually, because I've been playing this game since I was like 4 years old. I'm not going to say that I'm a great player or anything, but I think I'm at least halfway adequate when I'm paying attention. But then I get to Sigma on the PS2 version. I'm so used to it going in this exact order, playing it on SNES. He teleports in, gives his dialogue, throws his cape off, pulls out his lightsaber. You hear the vroom of it coming on. The energy meter goes, brrr, fills up. Battle music kicks in, and he dashes at you in like the same beat. The PS2 version, energy meter fills up. I'm waiting for the music to kick in to start moving, but he dashes first, and then the music kicks in. Then by the time I realize what's going on, he's already right in front of me. I'm like, wait, what? And then he just gets a free hit in on me because I was waiting for the music cue to start the fight. Because I was so used to that happening. But the PS2 version has it not synced up. So that threw me for a loop. I think it has something to do with that the PS2 actually runs at a slightly different frame... Or not PS2, the SNES actually runs at a slightly different frame rate than all of the emulated versions. Because I've heard that some speed games, like Mario 64 and Donkey Kong 64, they run at a slightly different frame rate, and doing like segmented speed runs for like one objective is not bad. But if you compare N64 to like Wii U or Wii Virtual Console, the frame rate is slightly different enough that over like an hour-long, 2-hour-long speed run, then it adds up over time. Mario 3 specifically is the one I was thinking about.
You know what was shocking for me to hear?
What's that?
When I found out... have you ever seen that video by Gigaboots about the input lag between the X Legacy Collection and their original versions?
I don't think I saw that.
The SNES is actually less responsive than the PC version of the Legacy Collection running with a wired controller.
I can't attest to that because I haven't got to play the Steam version yet. I actually was there.
It was on par with the PS4 version.
Okay,
like it was.
So it's basically the same in that case.
It's basically the same, but then the other games is where it starts to deviate, which I thought was super interesting. That the SNES actually has some really terrible input lag for being a wired setup.
But
like that was the most fascinating thing. Like you wouldn't notice it because all the games are meant to be played like that, but the minute it's put in a wireless setting is the minute you'll notice it.
So it's just a thing of, after decades of playing it, my brain is so used to the input lag that I work around it. But now that there's no input lag, it throws me off.
Yes, and then the minute that the input lag is reintroduced, it'll throw you off again.
That's trippy. But
it is.
It was the same of me starting to learn speedruns through emulation and then playing it on original hardware, because there are some sections in the game that lag.
Yep.
Like in Whomp's Fortress. But Dire Dire Docks kind of chugs.
I believe it.
So some of the tricks that I have to do using a joystick instead, I have to do with buttons. So I have to claw the controller while pressing A.
Master Chief Snake asks, which English voice actor do I prefer, Brad Swale or Mark Gotha for Lan? I'm going to say Brad Swale because he at least sounds like he is trying to imitate a teenager. Mark Gotha still sounds like a full-grown man doing Lan's voice.
I'll go with Brad Swale as well, and Andrew Francis is my Mega Man all the way.
I will
what about
say,
Ben Diskin?
The funny thing is, I actually knew both of those voice actors from Gundam before I knew them from Mega Man. So I think that's kind of funny that two of my childhood favorites are that closely intertwined with each other. But I have a sore spot when it comes to the X Legacy Collection on Steam because I was there ready to play it, like somewhat brand new laptop in hand. I had just gotten it. And then they drop it, and I buy it, I download it, I can't get it to boot up. And I go to the support forums, I'm not the only one having trouble, and a bunch of people there are saying that they emailed Capcom and they got their reply back basically saying that Capcom said that they weren't really going to do anything. So all we could do was ask Steam for a refund. So I felt betrayed, like, immediately, because at the time I didn't have a PS4, I didn't have a Switch, so PC was going to be the way that I was going to have to play, X Legacy Collection. And I'm over here foaming at the mouth for it because I love X. Like, X is my favorite Mega Man, even if Battle Network is my favorite Mega Man series. So just, I felt super betrayed. Steam did give me a refund and everything got put back to normal, but I had to wait like another full year, 2 years before I actually got the collection because I finally got a console I could play it on. But that's a bit of a sore spot, just in my lore, in my history.
Well, to end on a little bit more of a positive note, over on my channel, we're actually going to be beginning the X series next week, and then throughout the rest of this one, we're going to be tying up a few loose ends in the Mario franchise, like New Super Luigi U, and thinking about doing something a little different. I haven't quite figured out the other game for this week, but
if I have the opportunity, I'll pop in for those. I can't guarantee I'll be in chat because I refuse to use the YouTube app. The browser works just fine.
Well, I wouldn't. I don't expect you to join on for either of those. That's all up to you.
I just meant like being in the chat and just watching, just as a
yeah.
But I can't guarantee I'll be active in the text chat because live stream on YouTube doesn't give you the option on mobile Chrome to interact with the chat. Apparently, that has to be a app thing, and I'm not using the app because the browser works just fine.
I getcha.
I'm a grumpy old man. Leave me be.
I see. Grumpy old man, eh?
You young whippersnappers!
Gosh, dang it!
I like the fact that the youngest one in this chat is also the one that can sound the most like an old man.
You darn kids, get off my property!
You darn kids!
See, she's good.
I'm a slightly seasoned voice actress.
Slightly. Seasoned with a little bit of oregano and some pepper.
Yep, that's right.
Well, that's about all I got on this end. Thank you for having me on, Gavin, and for my chat again. To Gavin again, I apologize. I didn't have your audio turned up loud enough, until we're about an hour in. So
that's fine. I'm just glad I got the guest on your channel again, and I'm honored to have you back on mine.
Yeah, if y'all can show me how to adjust the audio levels to make it to where we can get that fixed, in post, then if that's possible, then I definitely want to do that. I just don't know how because I'm a scrub when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Casey would be the one that would know how to do that. I'm not so bright on that, but
yeah, I've been streaming for about a year. Too, technically, but yeah.
But I'm gonna go and probably sleep because I've been up since 6 in the morning and I've been working on fursuits and artwork. So yeah,
well, go get some rest then.
I get to continue where I left off in 4, which is really nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll catch you guys later.
All right, peace out. All right, and to everyone on my stream, thank you all for tuning in. Again, this has just been a little bit of footage gathering here and featuring Gavin Dragon having his own stream. This is just me getting some footage for an upcoming video to where I compare every version of the first MegaMan X game, and now that I finally have a Wii U, I was able to get the footage from that. So, yeah, just throwing that onto the pile, and I'm going to add that to the folder full of other footage that's been sitting dormant for over 2 years until I can eventually get around to writing a script for this thing. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight, and I'll see you sometime in the next couple weeks or so. Peace out.